Hi, my name is Donna Zimmerer and I will be showing you how to use and thread a USI Laminator, or also the Laminex, which is threaded the same way. This is called the supply rod. It is cut on one end and round on the other end. The cut end will be going into the friction stud that is cut out exactly like this, and the other end goes into the U-shaped, and you just drop it in. There are little dog ears on each rod, but you must be careful because they are facing different ways. The blue one is for the bottom, B, bottom, blue, B, or it will also say low on it. The top one will say top, or it'll be red. You can write it out bigger on there, it will not bother anything. I like to do the bottom one first. You take the laminate and you take it off the back side like this. If you notice, one side's dull, the other side is shiny. Shiny side is the glue side. So you take the bottom roll, you take the bottom supply roll rod, put it in until you get to the dog ears. It won't go any further. Twist opposite the dog ears and it will go in. Then lay the paper down and put it under the one that spins, not the one that doesn't spin, the one that spins. This is called the idler bar. The top one has one too. This one does not spin, this one spins. Put it under that one. Under that one. And then insert it into the friction and then lay it in there. Then I just lay it on top of this, making sure the paper is nice and neatly in there. The laminate is nice and neat. Then
Stop right there.
we are now going to load the top supply rod. Same way, but you make sure it's coming off the back and it's coming down, not up like we were before. That's up, well, down. Put it all the way in until you get to the dog ears. Won't go in any further. Twist opposite the dog ears. Then you take it, put it in the friction stud and drop it into the U bracket and put this under the rod, under the rod. What I do is I lay this down, pass the two heat rollers, heat shoes, pass the both heat shoes using the threading board. Make sure the top one's hanging down past the heat shoes and the bottom one is coming up. Make sure these are lined up together, else glue will get on your rollers. So you want to pull this one over a little bit, just a hair. Went too far. And now see how they match up? Now take your threading board, which comes in each box of your two rolls. Save them because pretty soon they might not be having them. And press power on. You must sometimes give it a little shove. And make sure it's coming all the way through the back pressure rollers and make sure you're watching it. After the board is through, take it off, turn the heat on, and takes about 15-20 minutes for it to heat up. This type does. The older types take 30 minutes. You will find this is set on 299 or 298, 297, somewhere in there. You hit this. That is called Celsius. This is Fahrenheit. To find out the actual temperature, push Act. If it's flashing below 140 degrees, that means it's below 140 degrees. Let me see that. Actual, if it's flashing, it's actually below 140 degrees. When the USI on this ARL 2700, the blue one, when it's ready, you put the actual temperature. If it's anywhere over 290, it is fine. That means it's ready to go. And since you have just loaded the machine, you have the paper, the laminate, it's not stuck together. Make sure it's stuck together, else the teachers will jam it for you. All you do is push run until it comes out the back end, fused together. Then leave about 4 inches and put your clips on or some kind of weight on it so it will help hold it down and it won't go under the roller again. After it's laminated and you have run the paper through and it is fused together on the back end, you put the tray back on. You put these U's on the back of these roll pins right here. Setting the back one first, making it easier for you. Then just go straight down. Hanging the guard on the top one. Sometimes you have to go behind the rivet, and then it's down. At the end of the day, when you are finished with the unit, it should be turned off manually by the switch. Then, every day or before a thunderstorm, unit must be unplugged. Thank you.
Welcome to USI's instructional video on how to thread your roll laminator. These instructions can be used with most make and model roll laminators, but today we'll be using the USI CSL 2700. The first step in threading your film would be to remove your heat guard and your threading board. When threading your film, you want to make sure that your machine is off and the heat source is cool to make this a much easier process. The most important thing when you thread your roll laminator is to make sure you load your film on properly. This process is made easier with the USI Color Code System. All you're going to do is match up red to red and blue to blue when placing your film on the roll laminator. You always want to make sure that the coarse side of the film is facing out. So if you're not using the USI Color Code System, feel your film. The smooth side should be facing the heat source, while the coarse side, which is your heat activated adhesive, should be facing away from the heat source. Next, we're going to put our mandrel through our film. Make sure you twist up so the gripper dogs do not impede your process. We are then going to load the top roll onto our laminator. We will then thread the film underneath the idler bar here and let it hang over the top as so. We will then repeat this process on the bottom. Again, making sure that the coarse side of your film is facing away from the heat source. Twist. And place on your unit. Now remember, when using a heat shoe machine, you can use any size film you want. Just make sure the top and bottom rolls match up. As you can see, we have the film threaded underneath the top idler bar, threaded underneath the bottom idler bar. The film is overlapping, and we're going to take a piece of Scotch tape and tape the film together so that your laminator should look like this. Now we're going to thread the film through the machine. To do this, you can use a threading board, or if you don't have a threading board available, just take a couple of office manila folders. We're going to press forward on your machine and push the folders through. Make sure to give it a good push. Okay, we have the manila folders about halfway through. This is a very important part of the process. You want to make sure that you guide the manila folders to the second set of rollers. Once your film is through, you want to grab it immediately and pull it through to make sure that the film doesn't curl up and wrap around your back rollers. The final step of this process is to simply turn the heat on your machine and remove the excess film off the back using scissors or a simple zippy cutter. We have our excess film. The heat is on. Give your machine about 15 to 20 minutes and you should be good to go. Thank you.